This is the tent that let me sleep through a blazing summer sunrise and still pack up dry after a long night of rain. The Naturehike Village Instant Tent isn't trying to be ultralight or flashy. It's a fast, cabin-style shelter that actually feels like a small room when you're inside it. It sits squarely in the car camping category, and that's where it makes sense. If you drive to your site, want real headroom, and don't want to fight with sleeves and segments in the dark, this fits. I've been using the 4-person plus blackout version, and I've also spent time in camp with the 8-person variant. The experience is similar across the line. Quick setup, thick fabrics, and a layout that makes camp life comfortable for more than just sleeping. The design looks simple at first, an automatic frame with near vertical walls and a full fly that drops over the body. Those straight walls matter because they let me push a cot and bins right up to the sides without losing space to sloped fabric. I can stand up and change without crouching, and I don't feel boxed in. The outer fabric is a heavy 150D with a TI black coating, which gives it a matte, low-reflection look on the outside and near-total blackout inside. The darker interior isn't just about sleeping in. It keeps things noticeably cooler once the sun hits. The vestibule and included canopy poles turn the front into a practical porch for shade or light drizzle, and the snow skirt along the bottom seals off drafts when it's cold. 2 big mesh windows and a top screen vent keep air moving, even with the fly on, which is critical if you actually run 4 bodies in there overnight. Setup is where the tent earns its name. I unfold, spread the corners, lift the central hub, and the frame pops into place. Extending the legs until they click feels natural and takes about a minute, even solo. There are little covers over the joints, which means no finger pinches when you're in a hurry. The time you save on the body goes into staking and guying, which you should absolutely do if wind or rain is in the forecast. With the fly clipped on and 16 stakes in the ground, I'm usually done in around 10 to 12 minutes. If you're working with the 8-person model, a second set of hands helps keep the lift symmetrical so you don't twist the hub. The core performance comes down to 3 things: heat control, weather resistance, and livability. Heat control is incredible for a tent at this size. The TI black fabric blocks almost all light, so the inside stays dark at noon, and the temperature rise is gentler than with standard light-colored tents. On a July weekend, I woke at 9:30, unzipped the door, and only then remembered how harsh the sun actually was outside. It isn't air conditioning, but it buys you hours of comfort with a small fan and the windows cracked. In rain, the fly sheds water cleanly, and the seams have held up without a drip. I sat through a 6-hour coastal downpour with wind that shifted direction, and the floor stayed dry, the corners never wicked, and the inner remained untouched by spray. The only thing to watch is the front canopy. If it's pitched flat, water can pool. I either lower one pole to create a slope or add a guy line to pull the fabric down at the center. Wind performance is better than the boxy profile suggests. With all the guy lines placed and the stakes driven into firm soil, the frame took 20 to 25 mile-per-hour gusts without drama. The fabric didn't flap wildly, and the structure didn't rack. It's still a cabin tent with a lot of surface area, so I keep it tight and use every tie-out Naturehike gives you. Livability is where I felt the biggest quality of life jump over typical dome tents. The straight walls mean the claimed floor area is actually usable. I've run a queen air mattress, a low cot, and a soft crate for the dog, with space left over for a small folding table at the end. The vestibule is large enough for dirty boots and wet jackets, and the door height means I'm not smashing my head every time I go in and out. Small touches matter. The zippers glide, the pulls are easy to grab with gloves, and the door doesn't puddle water into the floor when you open it after a storm. Real-world testing changed how I pack and pitch it. On a desert trip, I rolled into camp at twilight and was upright in minutes. Not threading poles in the wind is underrated. It's just less stressful. I left the windows cracked and the top vent open. The blackout fabric turned the tent into a calm, dim space, while outside was bright orange and hot. I slept without needing to drape extra reflectors over the fly. On a wet weekend at a forest campground, I ran the full fly, used every guy point, and set the front canopy with a steep pitch. I never saw water creep in under the walls, and the snow skirt kept the drafts from sliding along the ground and into the inner. On a cold night with the windows fully closed, I did get the expected condensation under the fly. Cracking the top vent and unzipping a window a couple inches fixed it. There's no magic to condensation. It's about airflow, and this tent gives you enough control to manage it. A typical use case for me is a 2-night car camp with unpredictable weather. I pull up after work, set the frame, toss the fly, stake it all down, and I'm done before dark. I hang a lantern from the loop inside, lay out a queen mattress and a cot, and the straight walls let me stack bins and a cooler without feeling cramped. In the morning, I make coffee on the porch out of the rain. If the sun's aggressive, I leave the fly on and open the windows. It stays dim and cooler than outside, which is great for a midday nap. If I have to work for an hour, I can sit on a camp chair inside with the door rolled back and a breeze coming through. It feels closer to a small room than a typical tent. There are a few smart touches that kept winning me over. The automatic frame saves time at the exact moment you're most tired, arrival and teardown. The fabric's blackout effect doesn't just help with sleep, it also hides the visual clutter inside, so camp looks calmer and cleaner. The included stakes are actually usable. I've bent plenty from other brands on hard ground, and these held up. The carry bag has compression straps that matter when you try to repack it. Rolling toward the door to push air out of the inner before cinching the straps makes bagging it much easier. It's little details like that which make the difference between a smooth camp morning and a frustrating one. It isn't perfect. It's big and it's heavy. The packed length runs a bit over a yard, so it eats trunk space and doesn't play well with tiny cars. You're not carrying this more than from the parking lot to the site. The automatic frame is convenient, but it's also more complex than separate poles. I'm gentle with the telescoping sections, and I wouldn't try to force anything if it binds. The awning needs that angle in the rain, or you'll get sag and pooling. And if you camp in very cold, humid conditions with everything zipped tight, you'll see condensation unless you vent on purpose. None of those are deal breakers for me, but they're worth knowing before you buy. If you're deciding between sizes, the 4-person blackout version I'm using is already more generous than most 4-person tents. Think of it as a comfortable home base for 2 adults plus a dog, or a doable space for a small family, if you keep gear organized and use the vestibule smartly. The larger model carries the same DNA, bigger porch, more headroom, more weight, and I'd recommend 2 people for setup on that one. Across both, the personality is the same, fast to pitch, solid in weather, and quiet and dark inside. I keep coming back to the feeling it creates. With the fly on and the windows positioned, the inside becomes a private, calm space where the outside noise drops a notch. I can read at noon without squinting, nap late, and still wake up to a dry floor after a storm. That's the kind of reliability I want from a car camping tent. It's not trying to be everything for everyone. It's a dependable cabin that trades packability for comfort and speed. If you're a car camper who values real headroom, quick setup, and a cool, dark interior that actually helps you rest, this is a strong pick. If you backpack or need something compact enough to strap to a motorcycle pannier, this isn't it. For families, couples with a dog, and anyone who camps through shoulder seasons and doesn't mind staking and guying properly, the Naturehike Village Instant Tent lands exactly where it should. Easy to live with, tough in bad weather, and better at sleep than most tents I've used. Check the comments of this video for a link to see the current pricing of the Naturehike Village Instant Tent.